Look, achieving big goals is hard. It's not for the faint of heart. Every meaningful goal includes frustration, doubt, slow seasons, more doubt, even more frustration, right? The right person or people can help you normalize the journey. That emotional stability is huge. Hi, I'm Chris LeBrun, your host of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. As someone who's never been afraid of dreaming big and going for it all, I often find myself with a lot on my plate. I'm a husband and father, a nonprofit fundraiser, and an entrepreneur. What I've realized is my view of productivity was pretty toxic. After decades of believing that in order to do more, you had to work harder, I began to see productivity as this beautiful thing. Holistic productivity is the idea that you can accomplish your professional, personal, and purpose-driven goals in a healthy way, and doing so will make you happier and more fulfilled. Join me each week as we break down myths about productivity, share practical tips for maximizing your time, energy, and focus, and hear from others about their productivity journey. This is the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here for this episode of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. This is episode number 48. My name is Chris LeBrun. I'm your host. I'm a productivity coach. And again, I'm just so grateful that you are here for this episode. I'm actually kicking off a 3-episode series on the relationships that drive growth in your goal journey. So you'll definitely want to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you can get the next 2 episodes after today. I'm just so excited about this series. You know, if there's one thing that I know, it's going to be a lot easier to achieve your goals if you have a team. Now, sure, you can go it alone. It's possible. But there are so many advantages that you can gain by having a team that are pulling for you, that are helping you achieve your goals. And that's what we're going to look at over the next 3 episodes. Now, here's a quick overview of the episodes. Today, we're going to talk about why your goals need people and not just plans. This is the foundation of our conversation. We're going to look at the process of building your team and defining the different types of team members that you'll need to be successful. And next week in episode 2, we're going to talk about finding a mentor or a guide. Having a guide is so important. It's such a critical part of your team to help you reach your goals. All of this conversation, but especially episode 2, is going to be really practical, something that you can put into action right away. And then in episode 3, we're going to wrap up by talking about growing together as a team. This will be another practical conversation where we take a deep look at 2 other major types of relationships that can help you on your goal journey. But I don't want to give away too much right now, but you'll definitely want to check out all 3 episodes. So like I said, like, follow, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. So let's dive into the first episode here and start with why a support team is so important for you. You know, your team can help correct your perspective. When we're left alone, it's easy to overestimate our problems, underestimate our progress. And I don't know about you, but I get stuck in my own head sometimes, right? You know, other voices in the conversation are always a welcome addition and can help us recalibrate reality. A team can provide momentum insurance. Look, you know, motivation comes and goes. There are days when I do not want to get up and run. I do, but I don't want to. A support system can help you stay moving when that motivation disappears. This is pretty simple and basic, but trust me, don't overlook it. You are going to want that type of insurance, that motivation insurance someday. Your team can also help you reinforce your identity. We've talked about this concept several times before. It's important that you see yourself as an author, a business owner, a runner, an artist or a creator, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you want to surround yourself with these types of people. Do the things that they do. Talk like they talk. Act like they act. It's going to be a lot easier to believe in yourself, to believe that you belong in that group of people when you are surrounding yourself with them. Another benefit of your team is to provide accountability without pressure. And that is so critical. You don't need or want someone who is breathing down your neck, but you do want someone who notices when you drift a little bit, help you get back on course. We'll talk about several different ways that you can have accountability later on. And the final thing that I'll mention about why a team is so important is they help you manage your emotional stability. Look, achieving big goals is hard. It's not for the faint of heart. Every meaningful goal includes frustration, doubt, slow seasons, more doubt, even more frustration, right? The right person or people can help you normalize the journey. That emotional stability is huge. So let's look at some of the relationships that drive this type of growth. It doesn't matter what your goal is, if it's a professional, personal, or purpose-driven goal. Having a support team is going to make it so much easier for you to achieve your goal. This is especially true when you dream big. The bigger the goal, the more important a support team is. A support team can provide so many benefits along your goal journey. We've already talked about some of them, but they can provide new perspectives that are different from your own. They can help you maintain momentum through the encouragement, and they can help you avoid mistakes that they have already made or others have made. Now, I should probably back up and define what I mean when I say team, because when you hear the word team, you're probably thinking about actual partners. And this is great. I mean, these are your coworkers, your family, your friends, your business partners, anyone who is chasing your goal with you. They are on the same goal journey as you are. Now, you probably have partners or team members helping you with your professional goals. Maybe it's other people from your department or people from other teams or other departments. If you're a solopreneur, it looks a little bit different, but you still probably have a team in the form of contractors, people who help with your graphic design or website or production. Now, in terms of your personal goals, you might have a spouse or partner who's on your team or close friends. When I started out my planner, it was my idea, it was my goal, but I had a team of partners. These were friends that came alongside me, and it was so beneficial because each one of them had different skills than what I had. And so we were able to complement and balance each other out in a fantastic way. They were also able to challenge me to think about things different. I had some great ideas for the planner, but I had been thinking about them for weeks and months. And so hearing different ideas, hearing somebody challenge it, so why did you do that? It just made the planner so much better. And I don't care who you are or what idea or project you're working on, but you will always benefit from somebody challenging your ideas and helping you build on them. So there are those types of traditional partners, and that is one type of a team. But not every team has to be made up of people who are on the same journey as you are. In fact, I think there's a lot of power in finding people who are on their own journey. But maybe your paths cross and there are some connection points. Often these types of relationships can add a lot more than even a formal team can. And that's what I want to look at today. As you are building your team, I think there are several different roles that you need, and we're going to look at 5 of them today. These roles aren't task specific like a graphic designer. They're more philosophical roles, and they can apply to just about any type of goal. So here they are. I'll list them off, and then we'll come back and dive in a little bit deeper on each one. The first role you need to have on your team is a challenger. This is the person who asks the hard questions, that pushes you to think bigger, someone who doesn't let you settle for second best. A challenger helps you get more out of yourself, out of your ideas, and out of your goals. They tell you that you are capable of more. And this is great when you are too afraid to dream big and you want to settle for small. The next role is an encourager. An encourager reminds you why you started in the first place. They celebrate your progress with you and they keep morale high. This is invaluable, especially when things get tough and you want to quit. An encourager can bring you back to your why, and sometimes that can be all you need to keep going. And it can also be hard to step back and really celebrate and stay excited about our goals, but an encourager can provide that for you, and it's such an important role. The next role is truth teller. Now, this is the hard one. It's easy to see why we need an encourager. They keep us motivated and excited. But a truth teller gives us that honest feedback, even when we don't want to hear it. They help you keep your ego in check and they help you see your blind spots. This is so important for solopreneurs because everything sounds good in my head, right? But I need that honest feedback to realize that it might not sound as good in everyone else's head. We may not want to hear what the truth teller has to say, but if we have them on the team and we are willing to listen to them, they can save us from so much down the road. Now, the next role you need on your team is a connector. This is someone who can introduce you to people. They help open doors to new markets or opportunities or challenges. A connector can help you expand your world. Why is this so important? Because sometimes we can think that we're a big fish, but you're really just in a small pond. The world is so much larger, so much more complex than your small little circle. Remember that game, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, where you tried to connect every single actor back to Kevin Bacon in 6 movies or less? Well, we all need a Kevin Bacon in our goal journey, someone that can connect us to new ideas, new clients, new team members, new opportunities, right? So find that Kevin Bacon, that person who can be a connector. The last role we want to look at is the stabilizer. This is the person who can keep you grounded and remind you to stay balanced. They help you avoid burnout. This is critical because when the other roles are saying push just a little bit more, the stabilizer reminds us that we can't do it all at once. A stabilizer encourages you to lean into your systems rather than your emotion. Without a stabilizer, you will crash and burn. So let me run through that list again. We've got the challenger, the encourager, the truth teller, the connector, and the stabilizer. And here's the thing. One person can play multiple roles. Your truth teller may also be a great stabilizer. Your connector can also be your challenger. You also may not need every one of these roles all the time. For a season, you may need a challenger, and then you'll need to lean more heavily on your encourager for a time. You may have more than one truth teller or connector in your circle, and that's okay. And you may already have people filling these roles on your team already, but you didn't realize that that's why they were so important to you. And that's okay too. The important thing is knowing that you need these roles so you can look for people to fill them. I would recommend doing that now so that you can call on them when the time is right. You've probably already had names pop into your head. Oh, she's my truth teller for sure, right? Just write them down, and when you need them, you can bring them on board. So now we know what roles we need on our team. But I think there's also another specific way that we can add a lot of value to your team. There are 3 specific types of people that you need to find and start working with today. The first is a guide. This is a person who is ahead of you on a goal journey. The second is the ally. This is a person who is beside you. And the last one is the apprentice, someone who is behind you on their goal journey. So let's go back and look at the guide a little bit more closely. This is someone who has already walked the road that you're on. We're talking about a mentor, somebody who can shorten your learning curve, who can help you avoid making preventable mistakes. You get to learn from the mistakes that they have made instead of making them yourself. And that's awesome, right? They can provide perspective for you when you're frustrated or discouraged, and they can show you what's actually possible. We'll talk about this more in the next episode, but you don't have to have a guide that's on the top of the mountain, so to speak. You just need someone who's on the next ridge, someone who's just a little bit further along in their journey than you are and is willing to help guide you through the process. The next type of team member you need is someone who's an ally. This is someone who is at the same stage in their goal journey as you are. Now, an ally doesn't have to be on the exact same journey as you. It's helpful if it's the same goal, but it's not necessary. The key is that they need to be at the same stage of their goal journey as you are. If you're just starting out, they need to be just starting out. If you are halfway through, they need to be halfway through. This means they'll understand your struggle in real time, and you can help keep each other accountable. You can celebrate wins with each other, create positive peer pressure to encourage each other. I have a couple of coworkers who are also runners, and we come in on Monday morning and we talk about our weekend running adventure. How did the long run go? What was the weather like in your area? Because there's something really powerful about knowing that someone else is training for the same race or building something at the same time or working towards a similar outcome. It turns isolation into momentum. And trust me, a little friendly competition doesn't hurt either. An ally may be one of the most underrated relationships that you can have because unless they are on the exact same journey as you, going for the exact same goal, it's not a competition. You can have a friendly competition, but it's not really something that you have to be worried about. So you can help each other out. And there's not likely going to be two people who are writing the exact same book or trying to produce the exact same product. So lean into the benefits of having an ally and make sure that you have at least one on your team. Now, the last person or group of people that you need on your team is the apprentice. This one is often overlooked, but it is so incredibly powerful. You have a great opportunity and, dare I say, a great responsibility to help someone else, to be someone else's mentor or guide. Helping someone who is behind you reinforces what you've learned, clarifies your thinking, and helps build confidence. It gives you more purpose to your progress. Just like you didn't need to have the world's foremost leading authority as your guide, you don't have to be an expert or know everything to help someone else. Remember, we said the guide just has to be on the next ridge or two. You just have to be a little bit further ahead of your apprentice. This relationship also prevents you from stagnation. When someone is looking to you for guidance or as a reference, you tend to stay sharp. And I think it's important to remember that if your support is coming from just one direction, your growth is going to be limited. But when you're learning from someone ahead of you, someone who's beside you, and someone who's behind you, that's when momentum really starts to build. And of course, we can put these specific types of team members with the other team roles that we talked about. You can have an ally who's an encourager. A guide can be a fantastic connector, or an apprentice who is a great truth teller. So let's recap what we've talked about today. There are just so many benefits from not going it alone on your goal journey. A team can help you correct your perspective, create momentum insurance, reinforce your identity, provide accountability without pressure, and offer emotional support. There are several different roles that you need to have access to on your team. A challenger who can ask hard questions, the encourager who reminds you of your why, the truth teller who gives that honest feedback, the connector who opens doors for you and expands your world, and a stabilizer who keeps you grounded. These roles may be with you for a season, and that's it, or someone who you keep coming back to over and over again. There are also three distinct types of relationships that provide a well-rounded team. The guide, someone who is ahead of you and can help you avoid the same mistakes they made. The ally, someone who is beside you on a goal journey and can keep you accountable and provide a little positive peer pressure or even healthy competition. And an apprentice, someone who is behind you and you can serve as their guide. Now, in the next episode, like I said, we are going to dive into the guide relationship a lot more. We're going to talk about what a guide is and what it isn't, how to find a guide, how to approach them, and how to get the most out of that relationship. Because remember, you're going to be playing two different roles in this type of relationship, the guide and the apprentice. So it's important that we understand it. But I don't want to get ahead of myself, so make sure you come back next week for that episode. That's it for this episode today. Thank you so much for being here. Check out the show notes, holisticproductivity.com/48. That's where all the notes will be. Be sure that you're subscribed on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell so that you get the next episode when it drops next week. Again, you don't want to miss our conversation about guide. Also, if you liked the show and found it valuable, I would love to have you rate the show. Just give us a like, 5 stars, whatever the rating system is on your platform. We'd love to see that. Make sure you follow at Wholistic Productivity on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Substack. There's a lot of great productivity advice and tips and motivation that I give throughout the week on those different platforms. You're going to want to check that out. And join the Holistic Productivity community on School. This is a thriving, growing community focused on helping each other to be more productive in every area of life. We've got people from around the world, lots of great resources for you. And the best thing is it's absolutely free. So check that out. Link will be in the show notes for School. Again, thank you so much for listening. You know, my goal, the reason that I do this podcast, I talk about it all the time, is to help you dream big, plan smart, and live fully. And it's just such an honor to be able to do that with you. I'm so excited how you will build your team to help you achieve your goals. We'll see you next time.